I'm studying pre-law, so let's keep the drama to a minimum. Amelia Cross, 22, cuts in before the clerk can even finish reading the case number. She taps her pen against the table, relaxed, almost bored, like this courtroom is just another lecture she wandered into. Judge Frank Caprio slowly sets his pen down. Miss Cross, if you're truly pre-law, then you should understand procedure. You speak when the court recognizes you. She doesn't miss a beat. I'm just saying we could move this along. I know traffic code. Judge Caprio looks at her steadily. We'll find out whether your knowledge matches your behavior. For anyone watching, this is what happens when confidence sprints ahead of wisdom. Knowledge without respect has just entered the record. The clerk stands. Case number 2025, TR 6690. City of Providence versus Amelia Rose Cross. Charges: reckless operation of a motor vehicle, obstruction of a designated commercial loading zone, and verbal interference with a police officer during a lawful stop. Amelia lets out an audible sigh. It's not obstruction if I was parked under State Code 312018, which allows temporary standing in commercial zones. Miss Cross, the judge cuts in, calm but firm. The clerk is reading the charges, not debating them. You'll have your opportunity to speak. We'll review statutes when it's your turn. She shrugs. Just trying to clarify the record. The record doesn't need clarification yet, Judge Caprio replies. We'll see whether your citation supports your conduct. Officer Reynolds, please take the stand. Officer Mark Reynolds steps forward, raises his right hand, and is sworn in. Officer Reynolds, the judge says, please describe the events that led to these charges. Yes, Your Honor. On Thursday, October 24th, at approximately 9:45 a.m. I was conducting traffic enforcement on Doran Street near the financial district. I observed a white luxury sedan parked in a clearly marked commercial loading zone. A delivery truck was attempting to access the loading dock, and the sedan was blocking the ramp. He pauses, then continues. I approached the vehicle. The driver, later identified as Amelia Cross, was inside, using her phone. I informed her that she was obstructing a commercial loading zone and needed to move the vehicle. Immediately, the judge repeats. And what was her response? Officer Reynolds answers without hesitation. She said, "You can't ticket me. I'm literally studying this law." I explained that studying the law doesn't excuse violating it. She then added, "My father's a senior defense counsel. He'll have this voided before lunch." Judge Caprio freezes, pen hovering in midair. Did you have body camera footage of that exchange? Yes, Your Honor. Play the relevant portion. Officer D'Angelo. A soft hiss of static fills the courtroom. Then Amelia's voice cuts through, sharp, confident, dismissive. You can't ticket me. I'm literally studying this law. The audio stops. Judge Caprio lets the silence settle before speaking. Miss Cross, did you make that statement to Officer Reynolds? Yes, she says, but I was explaining that I understood the statute. Understanding a statute, the judge replies evenly, does not give you immunity from breaking it. Arrogance is not a legal defense. He glances at the file. Evidence timestamp. 9:47 a.m. Bodycam recording. Complaint filed at 9:48 a.m. Amelia leans forward. Your Honor, respectfully, I was referencing Rhode Island General Law 31-20-18, which allows temporary standing in commercial zones for loading and unloading. I was unloading personal items from a professional meeting. Miss Cross, Judge Caprio asks, do you have a copy of that statute with you? I know it by memory. Then please recite the full text of 31-20-18 for the record. She hesitates. It permits standing in commercial zones for loading purposes. That's a summary, the judge says, not the statute. Miss Reyes, Please pull up Rhode Island General Law 31-20-18. The clerk types, scrolls, then reads aloud. Your Honor, the statute states, no person shall stop, stand, or park a vehicle in a designated commercial loading zone except for the immediate loading or unloading of commercial goods by vehicles displaying valid commercial registration. Private vehicles are expressly excluded unless authorized by permit. Judge Caprio turns back to Amelia. Were you unloading commercial goods? No. And were you operating a vehicle with valid commercial registration? The clerk looks up and nods. Yes, Your Honor, by phone. Put him through. A man's voice comes over the speaker, calm but worn down. Thank you, Your Honor. I'm a delivery driver with Metro Logistics. Thursday morning, I had a scheduled delivery at 290 Doran Street at 9:30 a.m. I arrived on time, but the loading dock was blocked by a white sedan. I couldn't access the ramp. He pauses, then continues. I waited. The driver stayed in the car, arguing with an officer. I honked twice to signal I needed access. She ignored me. By the time the vehicle moved, it was 10:15 a.m. I missed my delivery window. My client refused the shipment. I lost my delivery bonus for the week, $120. That's groceries for my family. Amelia mutters under her breath, that's dramatic. Judge Caprio hears it instantly. Miss Cross, if you have something to say it out loud. She lifts her chin. I just think it's exaggerated. It was 45 minutes. Consequences, the judge replies evenly. Rarely ask for your comfort first, Miss Cross. Mr. Ortiz. Thank you. Your statement is entered into the record. The line clicks dead. Judge Caprio turns back to the clerk. Miss Reyes, were there any communications to this court regarding this case before today's hearing? The clerk flips through a logbook. Yes, Your Honor. One voicemail received on October 25th at 11:18 a.m. from a number registered to Cross and Finch LLP. Play the voicemail for the record. A polished, professional female voice fills the courtroom. This message is from Cross and Finch on behalf of attorney Richard Cross. Mr. Cross is requesting a courtesy update regarding his daughter's matter. Case number 2025, TR 6690. Please return this call at your earliest convenience. Amelia's attorney, public defender Fiona Blake, reluctantly appointed after Richard Cross declined to represent his own daughter, rises to her feet. Your Honor, she says carefully, that voicemail was a courtesy inquiry, not an attempt to influence the court. Miss Blake, courtesy is fine. Influence is not. The voicemail requested an update which suggests a desire for information that could inform strategy or intervention. It goes on the record. Time-stamped sequence. Ixi toista kahad santoista. Ami voicemail received. Docket notation logged. Ixi toista coxi. Amelia leans forward again. Your Honor, I need to object. Miss Cross, you're not an attorney. You can't object. But I'm pre-law. I know. You know theory. This is practice. Only licensed attorneys can make objections in court. You're learning the law from the inside today, Miss Cross. And every time you interrupt, you prove you're studying it without understanding it. Every argument sounded like privilege with footnotes. Caprio straightens. Here are my findings. The evidence is clear. Officer Reynolds's body cam footage, Mr. Ortiz's testimony, and your own admissions establish that you obstructed a commercial loading zone. You were not engaged in lawful commercial activity. You missed the statute governing the zone. You delayed a working driver for 45 minutes, costing him a delivery bonus. You invoked your father's position to intimidate Officer Reynolds. You photographed his badge as leverage. Caprio pauses. Miss Cross, you entered this courtroom quoting laws you hadn't fully read. You dismissed a delivery driver's lost income as dramatic. You invoked your father's credentials to suggest this citation would disappear. That's not legal education. That's arrogance with footnotes. He turns a page. Education without humility is miseducation. The base fines total $980. Reckless operation, $500. Obstruction of a commercial loading zone, $300. Verbal interference with an officer, $180. Amelia's face tightens. However, I'm suspending $500 of that total contingent on your completion of a restorative accountability plan. If you complete it, that portion is waived. If you don't complete it, Judge Caprio adds, the suspended amount will be reinstated in full. Here's what the plan requires. He ticks through the terms carefully. First, 100 hours of community legal aid. You will work under supervision at Rhode Island Legal Services, assisting low-income clients with housing, employment, and family law matters. No high-profile cases. No corporate work. Just people who need help and can't afford your father's firm. Second, you will participate in 3 campus ethics seminars at your law school. You will speak directly to students about humility, service, and the difference between knowing statutes and serving justice. Third, you will write a formal apology to Officer Mark Reynolds. Not a legal memo. Not a philosophical essay. A plain, honest apology, clearly stating what you did and what you learned. He pauses. You'll study law in the one classroom that never lies. Service. Mercy is not lenience. It's instruction. A beat of silence follows. For those who believe respect should come before credentials, this is order in the court. The clerk reads it into the record. Service checklist. 100 hours at Rhode Island Legal Services. Deadline 90 days. 3 ethics seminars. Scheduled within 60 days. 1 written apology due in 14 days. The courtroom door opens. A man in a tailored suit steps inside, mid-50s, silver-haired, carrying the quiet authority of boardrooms and closing arguments. Your Honor, he says, I'm Richard Cross, senior counsel at Cross & Finch. I'd like a moment to discuss my daughter's case. Judge Caprio doesn't rise. Counselor, your daughter's education is continuing, publicly. You're welcome to observe, but I won't discuss this matter with you off the record. With respect, Your Honor, I believe there may be, Counselor, Caprio cuts in, status does not recuse accountability. Your daughter has representation. She has a voice. This proceeding remains on the record. Richard Cross hesitates, then nods and takes a seat in the gallery. Amelia glances at him, then back to the bench. I didn't ask him to come. Then tell him you'll handle this yourself, Miss Cross. She straightens. I will, Your Honor. Over the next 4 months, Amelia completes the plan, piece by piece. Week 2. Assignment log from Rhode Island Legal Services. Amelia. That assists in drafting a motion for eviction relief for a single mother facing displacement. Supervising attorney's note. Quiet. Focused. Ask thoughtful questions. Week 6. Observation report. Amelia sits through traffic court sessions, watching closely. Tone, respect, procedure. She submits a reflection afterward. I saw how Judge Caprio speaks to people who can't afford lawyers. He listens. I lectured Officer Reynolds instead of listening. Week 8. Ethics Seminar PSA draft submitted. First version rejected by the Law School Ethics Board for excessive legal jargon. Revised draft approved. Humility is the highest credential. You can memorize every statute and still fail every client if you don't respect the people the law serves. Week 12. Email from a supervising public defender. Amelia helped a veteran navigate VA benefits paperwork. She stayed an extra hour to explain the process in plain language. She listens now. Week 14. Apology letter delivered to Officer Reynolds. His reply is filed with the court. Apology accepted. I hope you remember that respect isn't something you cite, it's something you show. Week 16. Final service log. 100 hours completed. Client feedback form from legal services includes a single comment. She made me feel like my problem mattered. That's all I needed. Compliance ledger. Heavy checkmark 100 service hours logged, heavy checkmark 3 ethics seminars completed, heavy checkmark 1 apology delivered, heavy checkmark remaining balance. $480 suspended 4 months after the original hearing. Amelia Cross returns to court for final review. Judge Caprio scans the file, service logs, seminar certificates, apology receipt, supervising attorney evaluations. Miss Cross, he says, I've read everything. Tell me, what did you learn about the law? Amelia stands. She's alone. No father. No attorney. No notes. Your Honor, she begins, I learned that the law isn't about being right, Amelia says steadily. It's about being just. When I blocked that loading zone, I thought I knew the statute, at least I thought I did. But I didn't think about Mr. Ortiz losing his bonus. I didn't think about Officer Reynolds doing his job. I was focused on proving that I knew something. I was wrong. She takes a breath and continues. Working with legal services taught me that most people don't need someone who can recite case citations. They need someone who listens. Someone who explains things clearly. Someone who treats their problems like they matter. I helped a woman keep her apartment. I helped a veteran get his benefits. I didn't quote a single statute to them. I just helped. She looks up at the bench. And Officer Reynolds taught me that respect isn't a legal concept. It's a human one. I treated him like an inconvenience. He was protecting a commercial zone so people like Mr. Ortiz could do their jobs. Judge Caprio nods slowly. You stopped quoting the law, he says, and started living it. He signs a form. I'm waiving the suspended $500. You owe $480 total. Payable in installments. Your community service is complete. Your apology is accepted. This matter is closed. Thank you, Your Honor. Don't thank me, Caprio replies. Thank the people who taught you what law school couldn't. He pauses, then looks out over the courtroom. Should every law student serve the public before they practice, yes or no? 6 months later, Rhode Island Law School answers that question. The school formally adopts Judge Caprio's recommendation. A new courtroom education module becomes mandatory for first-year students. Before sitting for their first semester exams, students must complete 20 hours observing municipal court proceedings and 30 hours assisting at legal aid clinics. The dean sends Judge Caprio a letter. Your Honor, thank you for the recommendation. We implemented the courtroom education module this semester. Early feedback has been remarkable. Students report that observing real people with real problems has fundamentally changed how they read cases. One student later wrote, I thought law was about winning arguments. Now I know it's about serving people. Respectfully, Dean Margaret Lawson. Early program data followed. First semester enrollment. 212 students. Completion rate. 100%. Post-module survey results. 94% reported a stronger understanding of law as service, not status. A quote from the program evaluation is posted in the Law School Commons. Knowing statutes is easy. Understanding people is hard. 1 year after the hearing, Judge Caprio receives a handwritten note. Plain paper, no firm letterhead. Your Honor, I graduated last month. I accepted a position at Rhode Island Legal Services instead of joining my father's firm. My first client is a delivery driver who lost his job because of traffic fines he couldn't afford. I'm helping him get back on his feet. I thought of Mr. Ortiz. I thought of the loading zone I blocked. I'm grateful you didn't let me graduate law school without learning what the law is actually for. Respectfully, Amelia Cross. Caprio files the note, then writes a single line in his bench book. She entered quoting laws she didn't live by. She left knowing justice doesn't bend to ego, it educates it. On a quiet Friday afternoon, Judge Caprio finishes his final case of the week. Before leaving, he pulls up an old docket, the Thursday morning when Amelia Cross said, "Let's skip the theatrics," and discovered that courtrooms are classrooms for the arrogant. He imagines her at legal services, patiently explaining VA benefits to a veteran. He imagines her standing before law students, saying, "Humility is the highest credential." He remembers her apology to Officer Reynolds. Plain, honest, human. He adds one last note to the file. Knowing the law isn't wisdom. Living it is. The lights go off. The door locks. Dramatization for storytelling and education. Not legal advice or legal reporting.